again, and welcome back to the PhatPhish Guitar Studio. I'm Dave, and in this video I'm going to be talking about 6-post trems and how you can set them up. I was asked a question the other day. It's quite interesting because it's sort of like the opposite to the sort of question I would expect to get about this sort of trem. Stratocaster Tremolo, it's a classic piece of guitar design, and if you've seen a Strat you'll be familiar with the 6-post trem. So this is the way that the Tremolo system was originally designed for Stratocaster guitars. In more recent years they've moved to 2-post trems, but this question specifically is about the traditional vintage style. And the question was, can one of these trem units be set up so you can pull the bar back? So what we call floating setup. So the idea is, as you would normally expect in a trem, you can play a note and push the bar down to lower the pitch, but in the it's a floating setup, you can play a note and there's some pull up available on the trem, because it's not actually flat to the body, it's actually at a bit of an angle like this. So the question is, can you set it up? Well, obviously you can set it up like that, because that's how this guitar is set up. In fact, it's the standard way a trem would be set up. All the guitars I've had with 6-post trems, they've come from the factory or from the shop set up like that. It's like the default position. What you might find sometimes is what we call a tremolo that's been blocked or hardtailed, where basically the trem unit's fitted but it's not actually functional as a trem. And this sort of secret to setting a guitar up like this for either a floating trem or a hardtail, it's all about what's happening behind this little plate here. So, screwdriver, let's take a look at what's inside the guitar. So this is the view inside the tremolo cavity. What we've got is the tremolo block here and what's called the claw. That little wire there, by the way, that's just an earth. So basically earths the strings to a common ground. So here we've got 3 springs set up, and that balances the tension in the strings. If I wanted to play with like a heavier gauge string where there's going to be more pull from the string, which is going to pull these springs open, what I can do is tighten these screws up to pull the claw closer to the body, or I can add extra springs. There's capacity for up to 5 here to put more tension into the tremolo setup to balance the tension in the strings. Basically that's what you've got with a tremolo system. It's a balancing act going on between the tension in the strings pulling the tremolo one way and the tension in those springs pulling the block back. So setting up a guitar like this is a little bit of a balancing act, like I say, because you've got this balance between the tension in the strings and the tension in the springs in there. So as you increase the tension in one string, it's equivalent to pushing down the tremolo bar, and the other 5 strings will go a little bit flat. That's why I always recommend, if you can, when you're restringing a guitar like this, do it a string at a time, because you take one string off, bring that up to pitch, and the other 5 should be roughly about where they need to be. If you take all 6 strings off, it can take quite a long time and quite a lot of frustration to get the whole thing tuned up. So the way this guitar is set up, as you can see, the balance between the strings and the springs in the tremolo cavity are such that it's slightly off the guitar body, giving me upward and downward movement. I like that because of the flexibility, so I've got a fully functioning trem unit. That brings with it some disadvantages as well, or one particular disadvantage, and that's because if you play one string and say bend it, because the whole unit can move, introducing tension in one string effectively pulls the tremolo as if I pushed the bar down towards the body. Let's say, for example, I was going to play at the 9th fret on the 3rd string and also on the 7th fret on the 2nd string. And what I'm going to do is bend the note on the 3rd string up by 2 semitones, so it gets to be the same pitch as the F sharp there on the 7th fret on the 2nd string. Now the problem is, now if I just bend the 3rd string, I'm only going to play the 2nd string though, and listen to what happens to the pitch of that F sharp. Yeah, you can hear it going flat. That's because as I'm introducing extra tension into the third string by bending it, it's like I'm pushing the whole tremolo unit down and dropping the pitch ever so slightly on the other strings. So if I wanted to play that and have everything in perfectly in tune, what I actually need to do is actually bend up slightly on the other string. And this is something you can practice, and it becomes just part of your technique. But when you first learning the guitar, it can be a little bit tricky. And some people just don't like the inconvenience. So what they'll do is they'll what we call hardtailing the trem. And what that means is you'll take the cover off the back of the guitar, and you'll basically fit it up with 5 tremolo springs. Now, but putting 5 springs in there gives you so much more tension, pulling the tremolo unit back against the guitar body. Now, it is still possible with a lot of tension in the strings or whatever. You can still make that move. So people will go one step further and what we call block the tremolo. Now, this thing here is the tremolo block. This big solid lump of metal. Blocking off is actually introduces another block. You put basically a piece of wood or something, a nice piece of hardwood between the tremolo block and the guitar body, and basically that just wedges the tremolo in place. And with that in place, no amount of tension in the strings is going to be able to pull the tremolo down and knock the strings out of tune. So effectively what you've got there is like a hardtail guitar, so like a stop tail piece guitar where the tremolo is totally non-functional. Now that sort of modification is reversible. You can just pop the couple of springs off and take that wooden block out, and it's back to fully functioning. So it's a non-permanent, non-invasive modification of the guitar. Some people like that, some people don't. It's entirely a matter of personal taste. So there's no right way or wrong way to set the tremolo up. Okay, hopefully that's cleared up a few questions about hardtailing and floating trems on a 6-post tremolo system. If you enjoyed the video, please click like down there. If you really enjoyed it and you want to see other videos that I post onto the channel, then there's a subscribe button down there. If you click on that, then you'll get notified when I post any new videos. If you've got a question or a suggestion for a future video, you can leave it in the comments below, but I'm not going to guarantee that I'll see it. YouTube doesn't always let me know when people comment on videos. Best way to ask a specific question is to go here, fill the form in, send your question in. I'll try and get around to answering it in a future video. If there's anything you want to ask me about guitar equipment, music theory, guitar playing, anything like that, I'm happy to address it. Okay, that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video next time. Bye for now.